Chapter 611. The Birth of the Laws of Life. Augur declared a dark demon clad entirely in black, his figure adorned with a pair of wings, as he stepped forward. With Nightmare Great Emperor going, it should be foolproof, someone remarked upon seeing him. Among the demon emperors, distinctions were clear. A so-called Great Emperor among them could nearly be deemed invincible. Such a Great Emperor could overpower other demon emperors but still was not a supreme. His title was purely a testament to his formidable strength. In the Dark Demon domain, those crowned with the title of Great Emperor were exceedingly rare, numbering fewer than 10. And Nightmare Great Emperor was among them. However, Nightmare, you must also be cautious that Lin Fei is very cunning and strong. Should you encounter him, kill him at all costs. Lin Fei is a martial ancestor who can be slain. Once killed, Lin Fei will be gone forever, and there will be no more trouble from him, an end to all troubles. Nightmare Emperor nodded, his voice icy. When I strike, Lin Fei will not survive. Whoosh! In the next instant, Nightmare Emperor's figure vanished without a trace. Now, with Nightmare Emperor personally dealing with Lin Fei, we must still face the direct battlefield of the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain. Only by utterly breaking the resistance of the Divine Realm will it submit and be occupied and ruled by our Dark Demon Domain. The Demon Emperors began discussing plans to destroy all the frontal resistance in the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain. In the serene void, a figure suddenly appeared. Lin Fei quietly gazed at a group of dark demons in the distance. This time, they were his targets. In Lin Fei's eternal realm, the essence of the dark demon's flesh and blood had already stimulated the gradual emergence of life. Just a bit more was needed. Once life was born, Lin Fei's eternal realm would be transformed and become complete. At that point, Lin Fei's strength and realm would leap qualitatively. He might ascend from an ordinary martial ancestor to a top-tier one. Slaying these dark demons should be enough for my eternal realm to birth life this time. Lin Fei's gaze was exceptionally cold, looking at the group of dark demons. To many in the divine realm, these dark demons were fearsome and monstrous, but in Lin Fei's eyes, they seemed merely like endless energy. It was the nourishment for the life within his eternal realm. Whoosh! Lin Fei stepped forward. In the blink of an eye, he was among the group of dark demons. Eternal realm. The next moment, Lin Fei's eternal realm began to expand instantly, enveloping the group of dark demons within it. Among these dark demons, there were 3 demon emperors. Upon seeing Lin Fei, the trio showed faces of terror, shouting, "It's Lin Fei, run!" By now, Lin Fei's reputation in the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain was formidable, particularly to the dark demons. To them, he was akin to the Amaraja. An encounter with Lin Fei meant certain death. Nearly all were decimated, none could escape. Many dark demon armies had been reduced to dust under Lin Fei's onslaught. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One by one, the dark demons frantically scattered in all directions. Upon encountering Lin Fei, these dark demons completely lost their will to fight, which also indirectly showed that even these creatures feared death. Although they possessed dark hearts capable of rebirth, they were loath to lose their current bodies. Clearly, these bodies were crucial to the dark demons and not merely dispensable. Each was exceedingly precious, and none wished to lose their physical form under such circumstances, for it was entirely pointless. Within the eternal realm, the dark demons were crushed in droves, never even coming close to touching Lin Fei. Their deaths were utterly suffocating. Annihilate! Lin Fei extended a palm and pressed it towards the void. Poochie! Suddenly, the void fell completely silent. All around, everything was eerily quiet, for there was no longer any movement from the dark demons. All had been slain by Lin Fei, turned into dust, forever remaining within the eternal realm. As all the essence of flesh and blood stayed within the eternal realm, it transformed. Lin Fei had always been sensitive to it. The eternal realm seemed to be nurturing life, yet life had never been born until now. Lin Fei is the eternal realm, and the eternal realm is Lin Fei. Thus, he was acutely aware of every change within it. He distinctly felt that suddenly there was a new law in the eternal realm, a new law that exists in other worlds, the law of life. With the emergence of the law of life, the eternal realm was filled with the essence of life. Lin Fei began to sense what seemed like some floating life forms being born, invisible to the naked eye. These life forms continued to develop, eventually growing into plants such as flowers, grass, trees, and more. Moreover, the entire Eternal Realm was undergoing rapid changes. With the presence of life, Lin Fei grew stronger by the moment. The more life there was, the more powerful Lin Fei became. Just then, a long-absent voice echoed in Lin Fei's mind from the system. Your Eternal Realm has birthed life. Your Eternal Realm's progress has increased by 10%. Lin Fei was somewhat surprised. The voice of the system had not appeared for a long time, and now it had made a reappearance. System. Without hesitation, Lin Fei immediately accessed the system to check his status. Host, Lin Fei. Martial Realm, Martial Ancestor. World Level, Minor World, Progress 10%. Illusory Realm, True Immortal Level. Lin Fei noted that his world level was still a minor world. However, the progress behind the minor world had reached 10%. This was extraordinary. Previously, the progress behind Lin Fei's minor world was always 0. Now it had become 10%, clearly indicating that Lin Fei's Eternal Realm was on the right track, becoming stronger. And the reason for this change was undoubted. Life. Life had been born in the Eternal Realm. Thus, there was progress in Lin Fei's Eternal Realm. The birth of life can make a world complete. Only a complete world can possess unimaginable power. Lin Fei extended his hand and clenched it gently. He felt the power. A power unprecedented. Moreover, this power seemed almost infinite. Indeed, every moment, Lin Fei could feel the enhancement of his strength. After all, every moment, life was increasing within Lin Fei's Eternal Realm. The more life there was, the stronger Lin Fei's Eternal Realm naturally became. As for how strong Lin Fei was now, even he was not clear. Moreover, the potential of his Eternal Realm was incredibly vast. Now, it was merely some plants. Even then, plants appeared only in a few places. What if animals were born later? Or even intelligent life? What if those intelligent beings began their own way of cultivation? How strong would Lin Fei's Eternal Realm be then? Lin Fei could hardly imagine it. Even more, Lin Fei faintly felt that he was on a way quite different from other martial ancestors and true immortals. It seemed that Lin Fei had not embarked on the path to supreme status. But he was becoming even more formidable than a supreme. Who's there? Come out. Lin Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. He turned around, his gaze piercing through the void. Buzz. Ripples of space emanated in the void. Following that, a massive figure, entirely cloaked in black, appeared in the void. Its cold gaze fixed directly on Lin Fei. Chapter 612. Nightmare Emperor's Ambush. Dark Emperor. Lin Fei recognized it immediately. The figure cloaked entirely in black was unmistakably a demon emperor, and an unusual one at that. Great Dream Sect's Lin Fei. I am Nightmare Emperor, he announced. I have finally caught you, using a group of dark demons as bait to lure you out. You are indeed cautious. But it ends here. After today, the Divine Realm will no longer be your presence. Nightmare Emperor spoke slowly, his steps deliberate yet filled with overwhelming pressure as he advanced toward Lin Fei. Lin Fei's expression was solemn. He could see that Nightmare Emperor was formidable, unlike any demon emperor he had faced before. The pressure was immense, and it seemed that Nightmare Emperor had specifically used the group of dark demons to attract Lin Fei. While Lin Fei had been merely sweeping through the yin-yang immortal domain, encountering this group of dark demons had been purely coincidental. Whether by chance or by arrangement, it didn't matter now. Lin Fei and Nightmare Emperor had met, and that was enough. Nightmare Emperor's intent was clear, to completely eliminate Lin Fei, removing the threat he posed once and for all. Moreover, since Nightmare Emperor dared to speak so confidently, he must possess strength far surpassing ordinary demon emperors. Die, Knight of Sorrow, proclaimed Nightmare Emperor as he finished speaking. Boon. The earth shook, and the void itself seemed to shatter. It was as if even the light disappeared without a trace. Infinite darkness surged forward, engulfing everything in profound blackness. Even Lin Fei couldn't see his surroundings. What a strange technique. Lin Fei thought, feeling a twinge of anxiety. This was a situation he had never encountered before. He had always been sweeping through the yin-yang immortal domain, effortlessly slaying countless demon emperors, thinking them rather trivial and wondering how they dared invade the divine realm. But now Lin Fei realized it wasn't that the Dark Demons were inherently weak, rather, the top-tier Demon Emperors had not yet made their appearance. Nightmare Emperor, undoubtedly one of the elite, was proving to be a true challenge, capable of suppressing Lin Fei. Yes, Lin Fei was being suppressed. If he couldn't break through this darkness quickly, it meant he was indeed being overpowered. However, Lin Fei naturally had his own methods. As Lin Fei invoked his eternal realm, he felt a continual surge of strange and insidious power that seemed to erode the very fabric of his realm. This force was pervasive, infiltrating from all directions, relentlessly eroding everything in its path. For any other martial ancestor or true immortal, withstanding such a sinister force might have been impossible. The longer one remained in this darkness, the more susceptible they became to its corrupting influence. However, Lin Fei was different. He was a world unto himself. How difficult would it be to erode an entire world? Thus, once Lin Fei transformed into his world form, the dark powers could erode as they pleased, it posed no threat to him. Yet, the hidden Nightmare Emperor within the darkness was a severe danger, capable of threatening Lin Fei. Lin Fei had to not only withstand the dark powers' erosion but also break through it completely to slay Nightmare Emperor. At this moment, Lin Fei's eternal realm was indeed powerful, but to fully unleash it and combat Nightmare Emperor's dark powers, Lin Fei was not absolutely confident of victory. If those dark forces managed to erode into Lin Fei's eternal realm completely, the resultant damage could be catastrophic. The eternal realm was Lin Fei's foundation, he could not risk it. However, while the eternal realm could not be risked, the illusory realm was a different matter. In times like these, the illusory realm was crucial because it was ethereal and could not be eroded. If the illusory realm could envelop or intimidate Nightmare Emperor, it wouldn't need much time. Just holding Nightmare Emperor at bay would be enough to prevent the sinister dark power from significantly impacting Lin Fei's eternal realm. That would be sufficient. The next moment, Lin Fei took a deep breath. He hesitated no longer. Illusory realm. Buzz. As Lin Fei's words fell, the illusory realm descended, instantly covering thousands of miles. With the current scope of Lin Fei's illusory realm, covering this area was as easy as flipping his hand. Lin Fei was ensuring absolute security, sparing no effort to expand the range of the illusory realm to guarantee that it could completely envelop Nightmare Emperor. Indeed, Nightmare Emperor was hiding within the darkness. With a resounding boom, Nightmare Emperor made his move. Within the shroud of darkness, he approached Lin Fei silently. His massive form, enveloped in swirling dark mists, collided violently with Lin Fei's eternal realm. Crack! The eternal realm shattered. Dark, eerie forces surged into the realm. However, at that very moment, the illusory realm descended. Upon its arrival, Nightmare Emperor's body stiffened slightly. Even as an emperor, with a will of steel, he could not fully withstand the illusory realm. His expression struggled, his gaze became distant. Yet, he was unmistakably shaken by the illusory realm. There was no doubt about it, as evidenced by the halted encroachment of the surrounding darkness. The eerie dark forces seemed to lose their invasive power. Meanwhile, Lin Fei was dealing with the troublesome dark forces invading his eternal realm. But now, they abruptly ceased. Lin Fei's eternal power could easily dispel the darkness. Has the illusory realm succeeded? Lin Fei wondered, quickly deducing the reason. The illusory realm had likely succeeded in immobilizing Nightmare Emperor. Lin Fei did not know how long this effect would last, but it was undoubtedly an opportunity. Boom! Lin Fei's eternal realm unleashed its full power in an instant. He summoned the strongest force of his realm. With his most potent strike, the surrounding darkness was expelled by Lin Fei's eternal realm. He saw Nightmare Emperor, his gaze vacant, clearly shaken by Lin Fei's illusory realm, a rare opportunity. Third. Finally, Lin Fei's eternal realm crashed down upon Nightmare Emperor. As a great emperor, Nightmare Emperor's strength was formidable. However, it was futile. Lin Fei's eternal realm had evolved, alive with newfound power, its strength immeasurably enhanced. A single strike from the entire world, how could Nightmare Emperor withstand it? Thus, with that single blow, the Nightmare Emperor's form collapsed instantly, disintegrating into dust. Unable to fully unleash his own abilities, the Nightmare Emperor never had the chance to reveal the full extent of his strength. The result? He was obliterated by a single strike from Lin Fei. To reappear would require rebirth within the heart of the Dark Demons, a time frame unbeknownst to all. Today, Nightmare Emperor met a dismal defeat. Chapter 613. Dark Demon Domain is shocked. He's dead. Lin Fei's gaze fixed on the exploding form of Nightmare Emperor, whose body had burst into a cloud of blood mist. Then, with a fierce sweep, Lin Fei's eternal realm engulfed the blood mist. After all, it was the essence of an emperor's flesh, worth as much as many supreme demon emperors. Naturally, Lin Fei would not let it go. As the essence of Nightmare Emperor's flesh was absorbed into the eternal realm, Lin Fei could clearly feel life burgeoning throughout its expanse, plants sprouting up, making the realm gradually teem with vitality. Of course, to fully pervade the eternal realm with life might be challenging, requiring either a lengthy time or a substantial amount of dark demonic life essence. Thus, Lin Fei turned his attention back to the yin-yang immortal domain, focusing on the dark demons. Initially, Lin Fei had come to the yin-yang immortal domain at its behest and following discussions with the Supremes. He had been invited before, but now things were different. Even if others asked Lin Fei to leave, he wouldn't. This place had become Lin Fei's blessed land, and the dark demons had become a catalyst for birthing life within his eternal realm. However, Lin Fei hesitated. The dispatch of Nightmare Emperor was proof enough that the dark demon domain had taken notice of him and held him in considerable regard. Therefore, Lin Fei's time was running short. He must continue his raids before the dark demon domain could react further, gathering as much essence as possible. Otherwise, once the Dark Demon Domain learned of Nightmare Emperor's failure and his death, the retaliation against Lin Fei would be even more furious. Lin Fei did not delude himself into thinking he could single-handedly eradicate all invading dark demons. That was utterly impossible. Whoosh! In the next moment, Lin Fei's figure vanished, continuing his frenzied rampage. Days had passed at the headquarters of the Dark Demon Domain, yet there was no word from Nightmare Emperor. What's going on? Why hasn't there been any news from Nightmare Emperor? It's been days, hasn't he found Lin Fei yet? It's possible Lin Fei has been rampaging through the yin-yang immortal domain, and if luck isn't on our side, he indeed might not be found. But consider this possibility, perhaps Nightmare Emperor did find Lin Fei, but he failed, or even worse, he might already be dead. A silence fell over everyone. Dead? How could Nightmare Emperor possibly be dead? He was a great emperor, a majestic existence second only to the Supremes, far surpassing any ordinary demon emperor. Almost no one wanted to entertain the thought of Nightmare Emperor's fall. Regardless, let's try to contact Nightmare Emperor first. Attempts were made to reach him, but all were met with silence, deepening the furrows on everyone's brows and sparking a foreboding sense among some of the dark demons. Report. Lin Fei is now rampaging almost non-stop within the yin-yang immortal domain. Our forces in the Dark Demon Domain have suffered heavy losses. Under Lin Fei's relentless assaults, everyone is on edge, and we've lost the capability to continue our offensive, switching instead to defense. This news startled many dark demons. Lin Fei's relentless rampages had surely exposed his whereabouts. After all, even ordinary dark demons could detect Lin Fei. There was no reason Nightmare Emperor couldn't have. But still, there was no news or trace of him until now. In fact, many dark demons had already guessed the reason, though it seemed incredible. After a long pause, one of the Dark Demon Emperors, also a leader at the Divine Realm headquarters of the Dark Demon Domain, spoke in a deep voice. Considering all the information, it's highly probable that Nightmare Emperor has fallen. Going to the Dark Demon Domain and searching within the heart of dark demons will confirm it. If Nightmare Emperor has indeed fallen, it means there is a powerful being in the Divine Realm capable of slaying an Emperor of our Dark Demon Domain. Such a force is terrifying, not even a supreme, which is very disadvantageous for us. Even if we send several emperors, we can't guarantee they won't fall as well. Therefore, we must consult the supremes. It would be best if a supreme could personally take action to eliminate this threat, otherwise, our offensive operations must be temporarily halted. The leading emperor laid out the grim situation facing the Dark Demon Domain. The scenario was highly unfavorable. They had initially been in a great position, seemingly on the verge of overtaking the entire yin-yang immortal domain, which would have given the dark demons a foothold to establish strongholds. Then they could continuously deploy forces from the Dark Demon Domain into the yin-yang immortal domain, using it as a springboard to gradually advance and ultimately take over the entire divine realm. But everything had been going smoothly until Lin Fei, an anomaly, appeared, capable of slaying an emperor and single-handedly throwing the Dark Demon domain into chaos. Now, they could only defend passively, no longer daring to launch offensive strikes. Within the chaos, the Dark Demon Lord had transformed into a towering giant, straddling the chaotic void. Every movement he made was imbued with terrifying power. Beside him, numerous other dark demons, only slightly smaller in stature, radiated formidable strength as well. These were the Supremes of the Dark Demon domain, each a formidable force second only in status and power to the Master himself. The chaos was not exclusive to them, Supremes from other divine realms were present as well, seemingly equal in might. At least, neither side could overpower the other. The mood of the Dark Demon Lord was already sour. He had initially thought the divine realm would be easy to conquer, an expectation belied by its deep-rooted strength. Though no ruler had yet emerged, the number of Supremes was substantial. Away from the Dark Demon domain, the ruler's power was diminished, rendering him no more influential than a slightly stronger Supreme, unable to alter the course of the battle. "My lord, we've just received news," reported a Supreme of the Dark Demon domain. "Our offensive in the divine realm has faltered. We've ceased our attacks." "No, it's more than just a cessation, we are now on the defensive, and the situation is greatly unfavorable." "What?" exclaimed the Dark Demon Lord, clearly surprised and incredulous. The demons and emperors of his realm were no easy adversaries. How could they be faltering? "My lord, the reports indicate that a martial ancestor from the Great Dream sect named Lin Fei has arrived in the Yin-Yang Immortal domain to offer support. This Lin Fei is extremely cunning and powerful. Rather than confronting our forces directly, he has been rampaging through the Yin-Yang Immortal domain, causing our troops to fear for their safety and halt their advance. Moreover, this Lin Fei has even slain Nightmare Emperor. Now, everyone is unsure just how powerful Lin Fei really is, and naturally, they hesitate to send more emperors against him. Therefore, we can only request that you consider sending a Supreme to assist and potentially eliminate Lin Fei." The Supremes of the Dark Demon domain had relayed the information in full to the Dark Demon Lord. Now, the decision on how to proceed was his to make. Chapter 6:14. The Blood Rain. The Dark Demon Lord's expression darkened slightly. He had initially thought everything would go smoothly, but since arriving in the Divine Realm, nothing had gone according to plan. In the Supreme-level battles, he had even entered the fray himself, yet he was unable to break through and suppress the Supremes of the Divine Realm. The Demon Emperors and numerous Dark Demons were charging forward, trying to conquer the Divine Realm. However, they too were now facing difficulties. It was utter chaos, and continuing this way meant imminent defeat for the Dark Demon domain. The Dark Demon Lord, who had always been invincible in battle, found this situation unprecedented. Although every invasion faced initial obstacles, he had always emerged victorious. But now, with morale wavering across the Dark Demon domain and many Dark Demons losing faith, it was crucial to boost morale. And nothing could lift spirits better than slaying a Supreme. If we could slay a Supreme, all previous disadvantages and shadows would be swept away. He thought, it seems I must resort to that measure. We must slay a Supreme from the Divine Realm. Many thoughts raced through the Dark Demon Lord's mind as he weighed his options. He harbored many secrets and numerous strategies. However, he was reluctant to use these measures unless absolutely necessary, as some, once used, were gone forever. These were his trump cards, meant to save his life at critical moments. But given the current situation, if the Dark Demon domain wished to continue its invasion, and if he wanted to crush the Divine Realm definitively, then he would have to employ his last resort, using his trump card to slay a Supreme. Fine, I have no choice but to use my last resort. The next moment, the Dark Demon Lord took a deep breath. Swoosh! Suddenly, something that resembled a heart appeared in his hand. It was incredibly sinister and pitch black, its very sight discomforting. With a sinister smile, he said, "This is the heart of the most powerful distraction beast from a realm I conquered. Even I was nearly annihilated by it at one point. Fortunately, I had the heart of Dark Demons to rebirth myself. Now, let's see how you fare against this heart of distraction." With that, the Dark Demon Lord hurled the heart of distraction towards one of the Supremes. The Supremes of the Divine Realm were utterly shocked. Supremes differ significantly from true immortals and martial ancestors. They have transcended the constraints of the Divine Realm and thus gained freedom. However, this liberation also means they lose the means to be immortal and indestructible. Once their bodies are annihilated, they truly die, unlike the dark demons who can be reborn through the heart of dark demons. This seems like an advantage for the dark demons, they appear nearly unkillable. However, this is not entirely the case. The advantage of the dark demons is also their greatest vulnerability. If the heart of dark demons is destroyed, any dark demon, no matter where they are, will instantly die and be annihilated. This means the dark demon domain must keep its secrets extremely well guarded. If their secrets are exposed and someone breaches the dark demon domain and destroys the heart of dark demons, it would be catastrophic for the entire realm, including the dark demon lord. Supremes do not have this vulnerability. Even if the divine realm were destroyed, a supreme could traverse the chaos, seeking other realms to settle in. This is both a strength and a weakness. When the dark demon lord held the heart of destruction, it exploded violently upon impact. Boom. The explosion itself wasn't tremendously powerful, but the dispersal of the destructive force was immense. The heart of destruction, targeting a supreme of the divine realm, hit and exploded with devastating effect. The targeted supreme was not daunted by the explosive force of the heart of destruction. However, the destructive power enveloped him like an impenetrable net, corroding incessantly. Even a supreme could not withstand this terrifying destructive force. In an instant, the supreme's body was annihilated. The entire chaos suddenly fell silent, especially the supremes of the divine realm. It seemed they could hardly believe what had just occurred. A supreme had fallen. Many supremes had been born in the divine realm, and since their creation, none had ever perished, not one. Some supremes had left the divine realm to wander the chaos and had not returned for ages, but none had actually perished. Now, a supreme had fallen, and not just any supreme, but the very ancient original Tao Supreme, a venerable figure within the divine realm. Yet now, he had fallen. The Dark Demon Lord, upon witnessing the fall of the original Tao Supreme, finally revealed a trace of a smile on his face. Ha ha ha, excellent, a Supreme has finally fallen. Now, with one less Supreme in the divine realm, they are at a disadvantage. No matter how fiercely the others in the divine realm resist, as long as one Supreme falls, the whole divine realm is defeated. As the Dark Demon Lord had anticipated after the fall of original Tao Supreme, the other Supremes of the divine realm exchanged glances. Immediately, a notion of retreat appeared in their eyes. Uncertain if the Dark Demon Lord possessed more such tactics. They were unwilling to continue risking their lives. Let's go. Thus, several Supremes of the divine realm immediately flew towards their realm. The Dark Demon Lord merely narrowed his eyes slightly, opting not to pursue further. He indeed had more tactics at his disposal. However, he chose not to use them. Their effectiveness was uncertain. Using them meant he would have no ace left to save his life. This was a great taboo. Regardless, he needed to keep an ace up his sleeve. You just mentioned a martial ancestor who has changed the situation on the battlefield of the divine realm. Yes, the reports say so. Even the great emperor died at Lin Fei's hands, which speaks volumes about his extraordinary strength. Now, aside from the Supremes, it's hard to guarantee that anyone can surely kill him. The Dark Demon Lord nodded and said, Initial Demon Supreme, even the Nightmare Emperor died, and Nightmare was one of your subordinates, right? Sending more emperors won't be effective. Go to the divine realm yourself and cut down that Lin Fei. Knowing he poses a threat, we should nip that threat in the bud. The Supremes of the divine realm have been driven back. For the time being, it's difficult for the Supremes of the divine realm to intervene directly. So, you can now strike without any inhibitions and slay Lin Fei. By the time the Supremes of the divine realm react, Lin Fei will already be dead. Initial Demon Supreme bowed respectfully, yes, your majesty. I will slay Lin Fei and clear all obstacles for our Dark Demon domain. Go. The Dark Demon Lord waved his hand slightly. Instantly, Initial Demon Supreme turned and flew towards the Divine Realm. Divine Realm, the Yin-Yang immortal domain. Since Lin Fei had slain the Nightmare Emperor, he had been rampantly sweeping through the dark demons within the Yin-Yang immortal domain. His achievements were indeed spectacular. Lin Fei, on his own, had slain countless dark demons. He had repelled numerous waves of attacks. The number of demon emperors that died at his hands was almost too many to count. The numbers were simply too great. Meanwhile, Lin Fei's eternal realm took the opportunity to devour a great amount of the essence of the dark demon's flesh and blood. This caused the eternal realm to brim with vitality. A plethora of life forms appeared. The power of the eternal realm continued to rise. Just as the situation was looking up, suddenly the void trembled. Then, almost imperceptibly, it began to rain. Lin Fei stretched out his hand. "Is this a blood rain?" Lin Fei's eyes widened in disbelief. Blood rain? A tremendous change in the divine realm, it had even begun to rain blood. Surely, something earth-shattering had happened. Legend says, when a supreme falls, blood rain appears. Could it all be true? Has a supreme of the divine realm fallen? Even Lin Fei was slightly shaken. It showed how deep his shock ran. Chapter 6:15. Battling the Supreme. The fall of a supreme is no small matter. The appearance of blood rain was also highly abnormal, signaling that, even if it wasn't due to the fall of a supreme, something significant had certainly occurred. Thus, Lin Fei did not hesitate. He prepared to leave almost immediately. After all, during this time, he had swept through most of the yin-yang immortal domain and obtained enough essence of flesh and blood. It was enough to allow Lin Fei's eternal realm to give birth to more life, even to the point of creating animal life and even intelligent life. This allowed his eternal realm to continue advancing. System. Lin Fei immediately summoned the system panel. He checked his current status. Host, Lin Fei. Martial realm, martial ancestor. World level, minor world, progress 21%. Illusory realm, true immortal level. Lin Fei saw his world level, especially the minor world. The progress had actually increased from 10% to 21%. This indicated that Lin Fei's eternal realm was continuously improving. It was likely because Lin Fei had been continuously devouring a vast amount of dark demon flesh and blood essence, providing the eternal realm with abundant energy. This led to the continual emergence of various forms of life in the eternal realm. Thus, the progress of the eternal realm could continue to increase. Although the progress was slow, it was very effective. However, just as Lin Fei was preparing to traverse the void, suddenly he sensed something was amiss. Behind him, unbeknownst to him, a figure had appeared. This was a figure in a black robe. His presence wasn't overwhelmingly terrifying. He just stood quietly behind Lin Fei. But precisely because of this, Lin Fei was exceptionally vigilant. He did not know when this robed figure had arrived behind him, nor did he know who the figure was. Furthermore, he was unaware of the figure's realm. By now, Lin Fei had encountered nearly all types of dark demons, from the lowest to nearly all the dark demon emperors. Lin Fei had even slain a great emperor. He was all too familiar with these emperors. Yet, this robed figure was definitely a dark demon. That much Lin Fei was certain of. As for whether he was an emperor, Lin Fei was unsure. But Lin Fei had an inkling. A strong sense of threat emanated from this robed figure. Could a dark demon emperor pose such a great threat to him? Lin Fei's expression grew even more solemn as he asked in a deep voice, "Who exactly are you?" After a long pause, the robed figure spoke, "Are you Lin Fei of the Great Dream Sect?" "Indeed, it is I." "Good, I found you. If that's the case, then prepare to die. Don't forget, the one who kills you is the initial demon supreme." Lin Fei's eyes sharply focused, initial demon supreme. A supreme from the dark demon domain. Lin Fei was astonished. Weren't the supremes engaged in a grand battle on the chaos battlefield? It was a place no supreme could leave without greatly affecting the outcome of the war. After all, with no overwhelming advantage on either side, the absence of even one supreme could tip the scales of victory. Yet now, a supreme from the dark demon domain had come specifically to target Lin Fei, a mere martial ancestor. This could only mean one thing. The dark demon domain, at least at the level of the supremes, must have gained the upper hand. It was very possible that a supreme from the divine realm had indeed fallen. Otherwise, the dark demon domain wouldn't have spared a supreme to deal with Lin Fei. Of course, this was just Lin Fei's speculation. But such speculations were often close to the truth. Lin Fei no longer cared how the supreme had appeared. His immediate priority was to flee. He harbored no illusions of grandeur about facing a supreme. Though confident, he did not believe he was currently capable of contending with a supreme. Thus, Lin Fei's first reaction was to dive into a void passage and escape through space. Initial Demon Supreme shook his head slightly. You can't escape from a supreme. Break. As Initial Demon Supreme's words fell, the void passage that Lin Fei was about to traverse shattered in response. The void passage completely collapsed. Lin Fei's form emerged somewhat disheveled and stumbling from the void. He can destroy a void passage. So it seems, trying to escape through the void in front of a supreme is simply unrealistic. Lin Fei's heart sank slightly. He felt the situation was becoming troublesome. If he couldn't escape, his only choice was to confront him directly. But a martial answers to confronting a supreme. The outcome was already clear. Attack. Despite the great disparity, Lin Fei still did not give up. Instead, he took the initiative. The Eternal Realm erupted thunderously, and Lin Fei, transforming into the world, swept towards Initial Demon Supreme. As the Eternal Realm was about to envelop Initial Demon Supreme. Buzz. Suddenly, the Illusory Realm also descended. Lin Fei, without a moment's hesitation, deployed the Illusory Realm. Using the Illusory Realm in conjunction with the Eternal Realm, he launched a thunderous strike. Lin Fei had no illusions of defeating Initial Demon Supreme. He was merely trying to buy himself a little time. With just a little time, he could escape. But could the Illusory Realm restrain Initial Demon Supreme? Even for just an instant? Lin Fei didn't know. The moment the Illusory Realm descended, Lin Fei's Eternal Realm had already unleashed all its power. Boom. Finally, Lin Fei's full-force strike from the Eternal Realm fiercely hit Initial Demon Supreme. Simultaneously, the Illusory Realm also descended. At that instant, Initial Demon Supreme's body slightly shook. A hint of confusion flashed in his eyes. And it was this moment that gave Lin Fei his chance. Go. Without hesitation, after unleashing the strongest strike from his Eternal Realm, Lin Fei immediately dove into a spatial passage. He traveled through space, escaping. The Initial Demon Supreme was ultimately restrained by the Illusory Realm and the Eternal Realm. Even if just for a moment, he was indeed restrained. By the time he regained his senses and attempted to break through the spatial passage, it was too late. Lin Fei had already vanished without a trace. Well played, Lin Fei. To escape right before me is an accomplishment. However, even if you escape, you cannot change the overall situation. Our Dark Demon domain will ultimately dominate the entire Divine Realm. Initial Demon Supreme's eyes narrowed slightly. Though he was somewhat surprised internally that he had personally failed to capture Lin Fei. Lin Fei indeed had some tactics. But Initial Demon Supreme didn't care too much. The key to victory lay in battles between the Supremes. In the time to come, the Divine Realm would likely struggle to mount a defense. The fall of the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain was just a matter of time. Whoosh! Lin Fei stumbled as he leapt out from the void, arriving in Ancient City. He looked around. He was indeed back. Lin Fei finally felt somewhat relieved. It was a close call, nearly couldn't make it. The Supreme completely dominates. If not for Initial Demon Supreme's oversight, momentarily restrained by my Illusory Realm, this might have ended very badly for me. Lin Fei murmured softly, analyzing the gains and risks of his journey to the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain. Clearly, Lin Fei had gained a lot. But it was also an incredibly risky venture. Had it not been for Lin Fei's decisive action, boldly deploying the Illusory Realm and the Eternal Realm, he would have been in big trouble. He might have never been able to return to Ancient City. Swish! Lin Fei released many members of the Great Dream Sect. He addressed them, "We have returned to Ancient City." With the frontline situation deteriorating and the strategic landscape changing, everyone stays in Ancient City for now. Enhance your strength as quickly as possible and await further orders. We understand, we will obey the martial ancestors' orders. Thus, they all departed. Lin Fei assessed the situation. He then instantly flew back to his residence and entered his private chamber. Lin Fei focused his mind and went to Great Dream City. More precisely, he directly entered the 4th level of the dream within the Divine Dream Realm. He knew that the Great Dream Ancestor must be in there. Lin Fei sought the Great Dream Ancestor also to inquire about certain matters and gather some news. Chapter 6:16. Dire Situation in the Divine Realm. Lin Fei soon arrived at the Divine Dream Realm. As expected, the Great Dream Ancestor was within the Divine Dream Realm. "Master, I have a matter that I do not understand and seek your guidance," Lin Fei said respectfully. "Oh? What is it?" "Master, while I was in the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain, I witnessed a blood rain in the sky. I wish to know if this signifies the fall of a supreme being in our divine realm." Lin Fei asked straightforwardly. For a moment, the Great Dream Ancestor fell silent. Blood rained from the heavens, the fall of a supreme, one of the ancient legends. Yet, through all these years, there had never been a recorded fall of a supreme. Thus, it remained unconfirmed. But now, as blood rained from the heavens, the supreme beings were embroiled in a colossal battle with the lords of the dark demons, led by the Dark Demon Lord himself. Amid such chaos, it was natural for people's hearts to be unsettled and for rumors to arise. After a long pause, the Great Dream Ancestor slowly began, "Lin Fei, I shall not conceal it from you. Indeed, a supreme being has fallen, but this matter is currently top secret. It is only because my cultivation technique is somewhat unique that I am aware of it. The fallen is the original Tao Supreme, an ancient and venerable supreme being from our divine realm. The original Tao Supreme was slain by the Dark Demon Lord using a strange and devastating power. However, that must have been the Dark Demon Lord's strongest measure and a one-time use at that. Otherwise, why wouldn't he have used such power before, instead of waiting until the end? Even so, the fall of the original Tao Supreme has profoundly shaken the many supreme beings of the divine realm. Now, the hearts of the numerous supreme beings in the divine realm are unsettled. Numerous supreme beings yearn to forsake the divine realm and seek refuge amidst the chaos for a time. Consequently, they are all striving to suppress the news of the supreme being's demise. You must keep this secret closely guarded. Revealing it, let alone broadcasting it, could invoke severe punishments from the supreme beings." Lin Fei fell silent. Indeed, a supreme had perished. Moreover, it was an ancient supreme. The fall of the original Tao Supreme spelled great misfortune for the divine realm. Previously, no supreme had fallen. The divine realm could still somewhat restrain the supremes with notions of righteousness, urging them to resist the supremes of the dark demon domain. After all, the supremes were immortal. Even in facing the dark demon domain, they would not die. Thus, many supremes had taken action, engaging in fierce battles with the supremes of the Dark Demon Domain. Though the supremes of the Dark Demon Domain were strong, they truly could not overcome the supremes of the Divine Realm. At least, they could not kill a supreme. With this assurance, the supremes of the Divine Realm grew more confident. Nor would they consider leaving the Divine Realm. After all, they were still supremes and had their reputations to consider. Or perhaps, since the Divine Realm was ultimately their homeland, they also wished to protect it. In any case, the cost would not be great. It was merely a matter of lending a hand, an effortless gesture. But now, things were different. The original Tao Supreme had fallen. This meant that continuing the battle against the Dark Demon Domain would exact a grievous toll. It could even lead to death, to ruin. The price to be paid was too great. The Supremes were no longer immortal. Even if the Divine Realm was invaded, they could always retreat into the chaos at any moment. Why then should they fight to the death with the Dark Demon Domain? Once the Supremes had retreated, who else could the Divine Realm rely on to withstand the Dark Demon Domain? By then, the Divine Realm would only be occupied by dark demons. Everyone would either be slaughtered to the last or become slaves to these dark forces. The Supreme Beings have tightly sealed off any news, fearing it might incite panic. Lin Fei had come to understand the entire situation. Even now, it seemed there was no news from the Supremes. Yet, Lin Fei knew. Inside the ranks of the Divine Realm Supremes, a fierce debate was likely raging. Those advocating for strong resistance faced tremendous pressure. They would do their utmost to persuade some Supremes to stay. But ultimately, some Supremes would falter, leaving the Divine Realm for the chaos. With every Supreme that departed, the Divine Realm's crucial combat power was further diminished. The current situation was extremely unfavorable for the Divine Realm. Master, can the martial ancestor enter the chaos? Lin Fei suddenly asked. The true immortals, being in harmony with the divine realm's Tao, definitely cannot leave. The martial ancestor, however, has a certain advantage. If the Supremes are willing to break the channel between the divine realm's laws and chaos, then the martial ancestor could leave. However, the journey into the chaos would be fraught with difficulties. Moreover, how long the martial ancestor could survive in the chaos is unknown to anyone. Maybe a day, maybe 3 days, perhaps a month. What's the point then? He is bound to die. Unless a Supreme is willing to take the martial ancestor to another realm. Otherwise, the martial ancestor, alone in the chaos, is undoubtedly doomed. Sir, the situation for both our martial ancestor and the true immortals is essentially the same. We have no way out. Lin Fei fell silent. The Supremes had a way out, but that was just them. Whether it was the true immortals or the martial ancestor, neither had any escape. Once the dark demons occupied the divine realm, they would all become prisoners. Or they might simply be slain by the dark forces. Master, is there really no solution for the divine realm? Lin Fei could not help asking. Of course, there are solutions, and many Supremes are aware of them. If our divine realm were to give birth to a ruler who could control the entire realm, then exterminating all the dark demons within would be trivial. The Lord of Dark Demons in the Dark Demon domain is such a ruler. A ruler within their own realm is almost an invincible existence. Yet, among the many Supremes of our divine realm, not one is confident they can become a ruler. Great Dream Ancestor shook his head slightly. He clearly was not optimistic about the emergence of a ruler in the divine realm. Ruler? Lin Fei murmured softly, his mind flickering with countless thoughts. For the divine realm to birth a ruler would be exceedingly difficult. Perhaps it might not happen at all. If it were possible, the multitude of Supremes would have already done so. They wouldn't have waited until now. Since none have emerged yet, the hope of birthing a ruler during the Dark Demon invasion is utterly impossible. It's nothing more than a fool's dream. But, without becoming a ruler, are they truly incapable of confronting the Dark Demons? That's not necessarily true. At least, Lin Fei now knew of a second method. That is, to bring forth a Supreme being capable of sweeping away all peers of the same rank. Even if not a ruler, being able to sweep through all Supremes, what would the Dark Demon Lord matter? It would still be a dead end for him. At least, with such an invincible Supreme, the divine realm would surely be protected. Either birth a ruler or create an invincible Supreme. These are the only two methods that can save the divine realm. Yet, neither approach is simple. Where is this invincible Supreme? Where is this ruler? Master, if you achieve the status of martial ancestor, could you sweep away all Supremes and become an invincible one? Lin Fei asked. He felt that once Great Dream Ancestor's divine dream realm was completed, achieving Supreme status should be no issue. This had always been the direction of the Great Dream Ancestor's cultivation. Hearing this, Great Dream Ancestor shook his head helplessly. Although my cultivation way is somewhat special and my power somewhat strange, even if I became a Supreme, at most I would be a rather peculiar and powerful one. Sweeping all Supremes? Or becoming an invincible Supreme? That's simply not possible. At least, I have never heard of any invincible Supreme. Even the Lord of Dark Demons, despite being powerful, wouldn't be called an invincible Supreme. If many Supremes from my divine realm were to besiege him, the Lord of Dark Demons would undoubtedly perish. Lin Fei understood. Even someone as powerful as the Lord of Dark Demons, with various aces up his sleeve, still wouldn't qualify as an invincible Supreme. Only within the domain of the Dark Demon domain, where he is the ruler, could he be called an invincible Supreme. In the Chaos or other realms, the Dark Demon Lord is merely stronger than the average Supreme, far from being an invincible one. Invincible Supreme? Perhaps I have a chance. A glint of determination sparkled in Lin Fei's eyes. Chapter 617. Invincible Supreme. Lin Fei's confidence. Lin Fei left Great Dream City. He returned to his private chamber. There, he sorted through the intelligence he had gathered from Great Dream Ancestor. The divine realm seemed peaceful on the surface. But was it really? It was already in grave danger. Should those Supremes truly decide to leave the Divine Realm, then what awaited the Divine Realm would be an irreversible catastrophe. Lin Fei understood that placing his hopes on others was extremely risky. He knew none of the Supremes personally. To expect a Supreme to take him away, to enter the chaos, or even another realm, how could that be easy? Why would a Supreme care about him? If they were to take someone, it would be someone connected to the Supremes. What was Lin Fei in comparison? He was very clear about his own position. Even though he was a top-tier martial ancestor and a legend within the Divine Realm, in the eyes of the Supremes, he was still insignificant. Depending on others was unreliable. Only relying on oneself was the most dependable. All along, what Lin Fei sought was eternal freedom. Now, he had become a martial ancestor. He had also achieved immortality. That was as long as no external forces intervened. But now, with the invasion of the Dark Demon domain, Lin Fei could no longer guarantee his eternal freedom. At least, freedom was impossible. As for immortality, what immortality could Lin Fei speak of if a Supreme intervened? Previously, had the Supreme from the Dark Demon domain not been careless, Lin Fei might already be dead. Now, Lin Fei needed to fight for survival. He needed to live. To survive under such circumstances, there was only one way. That was to become stronger. To continuously grow stronger. Ideally, to become an invincible Supreme. Then, not only could Lin Fei himself survive, but the Divine Realm could also survive. All of Lin Fei's countless relatives and friends could live as well. But others might think this was a pipe dream. Becoming an invincible Supreme. Don't even think about it. But Lin Fei was different. Even though he was only a martial ancestor now, Lin Fei's potential was immeasurable. He had already found the path to becoming a Supreme, even the path to becoming an invincible Supreme. In fact, Lin Fei still didn't know how to become a Supreme. But that didn't matter. How to become a Supreme was not his concern. He only cared about whether he could enhance his own strength. And Lin Fei knew exactly how to do that. The Eternal Realm. The Illusory Realm. These were the reasons Lin Fei was confident he could enhance his power. The Eternal Realm was currently just an ordinary minor world. If it could transform into a true monarch-level world, then Lin Fei's power would increase tenfold, 100-fold, his strength immeasurable. Even if not as Supreme, he would be nearly as powerful. Moreover, if he added the power of the Illusory Realm, continuing to obtain true monarch-level world laws to integrate into the Illusory Realm, its power would also increase. When it reached the level of a Supreme, combined with Lin Fei's true monarch-level Eternal Realm, he would even have the confidence to slay a Supreme. And this was just a true monarch-level world. What if Lin Fei's Eternal Realm advanced to a true immortal-level world? Then Lin Fei was even confident that, relying solely on the Eternal Realm, he could become an invincible Supreme. It was this foundation that gave Lin Fei the audacity to claim he could become an invincible Supreme. However, elevating the Eternal Realm, even transforming it into a true monarch-level world was difficult. The method Lin Fei knew of was to continually obtain the essence of dark demonic life, thus nourishing the life within the Eternal Realm. Eventually, this would naturally elevate the Eternal Realm. But acquiring the essence of dark demonic life was also difficult for Lin Fei since he had been targeted by the Supremes of the Dark Demon domain. Once he made an appearance or pursued those dark demons, the Supremes of the Dark Demon domain would surely appear to slay him. Thus, Lin Fei needed to think of a more secure method. At the very least, he needed to have the power to defend himself in front of the Supremes of the Dark Demon domain. Illusory Realm. If my Illusory Realm were a bit stronger. Even if the Supremes were prepared, I could stun them. Even if just for an instant, that would be enough. I could then directly traverse the void to escape. Lin Fei's eyes brightened. He had thought of a way. The Illusory Realm seemed to be the only way he could break the situation. If the Illusory Realm could continue to increase its power by several times, or even 10 times, it would certainly stun a Supreme. Even for just a moment, Lin Fei could escape comfortably from under a Supreme's grasp. Then he could continue to sweep through dark demonic life, obtaining essence to rapidly elevate the Eternal Realm. Lin Fei wasted no time. In the current situation, he had to race against the clock. After all, if too much time passed, the Divine Realm might even collapse. Once the Supremes of the Divine Realm chose to leave, that news would definitely not stay hidden. Then, the Divine Realm would fall into chaos. Perhaps the Dark Demon Domain could soon occupy the entire Divine Realm. Therefore, time was of the essence. Thus, Lin Fei utilized his status as a martial ancestor. He drew on many pieces of intelligence about true monarch-level worlds. In the entire Divine Realm, true monarch-level worlds were actually not numerous. However, they had accumulated over the years without being destroyed, and their quantity was quite terrifying. Lin Fei quickly found the exact locations of over 100 true monarch-level worlds. And if he continued searching, he could find even more. However, once Lin Fei decided to extract the world laws from those true monarch-level worlds, it would inevitably offend many true immortals and martial ancestors. But Lin Fei no longer cared about that. Moreover, there was no true immortal or martial ancestor who could stop the current Lin Fei. After all, with the combination of the illusory realm and the eternal realm, the current Lin Fei, though not invincible among true immortals and martial ancestors, had few rivals. The first world, Stellar Mystique Realm. Lin Fei chose the first true monarch-level world. Then, with a flash, he dove into the void passage and disappeared without a trace. Outside the Stellar Mystique Realm, people came and went. This was a relatively prosperous true monarch-level world. However, the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain had almost been occupied by the Dark Demons. Even ordinary people knew what this meant. Once the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain fell, it would mean that the Dark Demon Domain had a foothold. The Yin-Yang Immortal Domain would become a bridgehead, continuously gathering a large number of Dark Demons. When the time came, they would surge out, ravaging the entire Divine Realm. Therefore, some far-sighted people were trying every means to enhance their own strength. Only in this way, when facing danger, could they possibly save themselves. Thus, the Stellar Mystique Realm became even more prosperous. It was filled with martial and celestial cultivators, trading various cultivation resources. The Stellar Mystique Realm had subtly become a trade world. Whoosh! Lin Fei stepped forward. His figure appeared outside the Stellar Mystique Realm. At that moment, many people seemed to sense something. Is that Martial Ancestor Lin from the Great Dream Sect? Martial Ancestor Lin has come to the outskirts of the Stellar Mystique Realm again. Is he here to seize the world laws again? Most likely. Martial Ancestor Lin greatly needs the true monarch-level world laws, said to be for cultivating his Saber world. It's not the Saber world anymore, it's now called the Illusory Realm. What should we do? The Stellar Mystique Realm is under Moonshadow True Immortal. It's likely that even Moonshadow True Immortal would have difficulty stopping Martial Ancestor Lin and might not even show up. Seeing Lin Fei's arrival, many people felt a sinking feeling. They knew that Lin Fei's objective was mostly the world origin of the Stellar Mystique Realm. Indeed, Lin Fei immediately addressed the Stellar Mystique Realm people, I need the world laws of the Stellar Mystique Realm. Let no one obstruct or face death. Lin Fei's actions were extremely domineering. But now, he had to be domineering. Thus, Lin Fei reached out with a great hand, grasping towards the Stellar Mystique Realm. Chapter 618. Lin Fei's Tyranny. Boon. The Stellar Mystique Realm violently shook. Swoosh! A stunning figure of a woman suddenly emerged from the void. It was none other than Moonshadow True Immortal. Seeing Lin Fei seizing the world laws of the Stellar Mystique Realm, Moonshadow True Immortal's expression darkened, and she urgently spoke, Fellow Taoist Lin, could you possibly spare the Stellar Mystique Realm from your actions in honor of our acquaintance? Lin Fei glanced at Moonshadow True Immortal. He shook his head slightly, his tone even as he spoke, you should be well aware of the current circumstances, Moonshadow. I've been fighting in the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain, and the situation has deteriorated badly. Extracting the laws of the world won't lead to its destruction, but when the Dark Demons arrive, everything will be finished. I need to enhance my strength, and the world laws of true monarch-level worlds are crucial for me. No matter what, I will not give up. If you insist on interfering, I will not hold back and show no mercy. Lin Fei was utterly domineering, even somewhat arrogant. To a true immortal, he showed not the slightest courtesy. However, Moonshadow True Immortal could only grit her teeth. There was nothing she could do, nor did she dare to. Although the Yin-Yang Immortal Domain was almost completely fallen. now under the complete control of the dark demons. Yet, the rumors that spread were alarming. Lin Fei had been invincible in the yin-yang immortal domain, continuously sweeping through and slaughtering dark demons. He had killed countless demon emperors of true immortal and martial ancestor rank. Such a ruthless figure, how could Moonshadow True Immortal dare to make a move? Those demon emperors are comparable to true immortals and martial ancestors. Yet, Lin Fei had slaughtered them as if they were mere chickens. It was evident that Lin Fei's power, said to be unmatched even among true immortals and martial ancestors, was unlikely to be challenged by many. But in the next moment, Lin Fei had already extracted the world laws of the stellar mystique realm. Meld. Lin Fei directly threw the world laws into the illusory realm, merging them. Instantly, Lin Fei could sense a noticeable enhancement in the illusory realm, albeit not a significant one. Fellow Taoist Moonshadow, I bid you farewell. Lin Fei paid no heed to Moonshadow True Immortal. He stepped into the void corridor, heading towards other true monarch-level worlds. Moonshadow True Immortal's expression was complex. Ultimately, she could only grit her teeth, disregard everything, and directly traverse through space to leave. Now, the entire divine realm was subtly beginning to descend into chaos. Might makes right. The influence of former powers, connections, and relationships seemed to have diminished greatly. Lin Fei was indeed domineering. He swept through one true monarch world after another, extracting their world laws and integrating them into the illusory realm, which significantly elevated the illusory realm. Moreover, the world laws forcibly taken by Lin Fei continued to increase. The number of true monarch-level worlds he descended upon also kept growing. 10, 20, 50, 80, 100. In the blink of an eye, Lin Fei had descended upon over 100 true monarch-level worlds. Effectively, Lin Fei had acquired over 100 world laws. For Lin Fei's illusory realm, this was a monumental enhancement. However, forcibly taking so many world origins also made Lin Fei offend many true immortals and martial ancestors. Not every true immortal or martial ancestor feared Lin Fei. Finally, when Lin Fei arrived at the 118th true monarch-level world, a martial ancestor appeared. Or rather, a martial ancestor had been waiting there for Lin Fei. Black Doom Martial Ancestor. Lin Fei looked at the martial ancestor before him. In the entire divine realm, Black Doom Martial Ancestor was renowned, dubbed as one of the martial ancestors closest to the Supreme. Such a title demonstrated the formidable strength of Black Doom Martial Ancestor. Martial Ancestor Lin, you continuously seize the world laws of true monarch-level worlds to enhance your own power. But you must know the great harm this does to a true monarch-level world. Others may fear you, but I do not. If you wish to take the world laws under my command, then you must cut down me first. Black Doom Martial Ancestor spoke straightforwardly. So you mean to obstruct me, Black Doom Martial Ancestor? Indeed. I have said, those who obstruct me will be shown no mercy. If that's the case, then you can't blame me. A sharp glint flashed in Lin Fei's eyes. This Black Doom Martial Ancestor, perhaps feeling confident in his own strength, believed he need not fear Lin Fei. Even if unable to defeat him, escaping with his life would be no issue. Hence, his fearless attitude. Unfortunately, in Lin Fei's eyes, Black Doom Martial Ancestor was negligible. He knew nothing of Lin Fei's power. Illusory Realm. With a thought from Lin Fei, the illusory realm descended. Once at the level of true immortal and martial ancestor, it had now merged with over 100 world laws. Just how much had the power of the illusory realm been elevated? Even Lin Fei himself could hardly estimate. One thing was clear to him. The illusory realm, facing true immortals and martial ancestors, was easily overpowering. Too easy. Boom. Lin Fei's illusory realm descended. As the illusory realm enveloped Black Doom Martial Ancestor, instantly, Black Doom Martial Ancestor's entire body trembled, his expression showing no hint of struggle as his spirit was suppressed in a flash. He was utterly powerless. This was Black Doom Martial Ancestor, a spirit of incredible resilience, even regarded as one of the martial ancestors with the potential to achieve supreme status. Yet, under the suppression of Lin Fei's illusory realm, he was completely powerless to resist. Lin Fei shook his head. Too weak. Black Doom Martial Ancestor had been a profound disappointment. such a frail will of the spirit. Lin Fei didn't even need to employ the eternal realm. Just one illusory realm was enough to suppress forever. Extinguish. With a gentle flick of his finger, an explosive burst from the eternal realm. Phut. Lin Fei's finger landed on Black Tomb Martial Ancestor. The mighty body of Black Tomb Martial Ancestor shattered like fragile glass. Even the particles were annihilated. Once the particles were completely obliterated, Black Tomb Martial Ancestor was truly dead. In reality, within the void, numerous gazes were fixed. Surely all from true immortals, martial ancestors. Black Tomb Martial Ancestor was merely a probe. If Lin Fei truly possessed unimaginable strength, then at least among the true immortal martial ancestors, none would dare obstruct Lin Fei. They, too, sought through Black Tomb Martial Ancestor to gauge Lin Fei's capabilities, or perhaps, to push him to his limits. But they were destined to be disappointed. Lin Fei did nothing. He simply unleashed the illusory realm. Upon its arrival, it instantly suppressed Black Tomb Martial Ancestor. Even without showing any further capabilities, Black Tomb Martial Ancestor couldn't withstand it. He was on the verge of collapse. When only one particle of Black Tomb Martial Ancestor remained, Lin Fei ultimately refrained from annihilating further. He withdrew the illusory realm. Instantly, Black Tomb Martial Ancestor regained consciousness. Then, he realized he was down to a single particle. In a moment, terror consumed him. His entire being was seized with fear. He had roughly understood that he had been defeated. Only, he was unaware of how he had been defeated. His spirit was suppressed by the illusory realm, rendering his body a sitting duck. In front of Lin Fei, the mighty Black Tomb Martial Ancestor couldn't withstand a single blow. Overwhelmed with shame, Black Tomb Martial Ancestor took a deep breath and bowed deeply to Lin Fei. Thank you, fellow Taoist Lin, for showing mercy and sparing my life. This is the first time, and it will be the last. Any further obstruction will meet with no mercy. Lin Fei's tone was unapologetic as his gaze swept through the void, a clear warning. Should any true immortal or martial ancestor dare to obstruct him again, Lin Fei would not hesitate to unleash slaughter, unlike the mercy he had shown Black Tomb Martial Ancestor this time. Just as Lin Fei was about to leave, a majestic voice reached his ears. Martial Ancestor Lin, to the headquarters of the Ancient Covenant. Lin Fei was startled. The Supreme. There was no mistaking it, this was the voice of one of the two Supremes of the Ancient Covenant. Chapter 619. The Supreme's Fleeing. Lin Fei wasted no time. Upon hearing the call of the Supreme, he immediately made his way to the headquarters of the Ancient Covenant. By now, the place had gathered many a martial ancestor and true immortal, each wearing an expression of grave solemnity. Clearly, they too understood that this summoning by the Supreme might well portend some significant crisis. Greetings to both Supremes. Lin Fei said upon arrival, bowing respectfully to Azure Emperor Supreme and White Cloud Supreme. Martial Ancestor Lin, please take your seat, Azure Emperor Supreme gestured towards Lin Fei's designated spot. Lin Fei's gaze fixed upon it. It was the first seat on the left, a position not lightly given. It is known that the arrangement of seats subtly reflects the status among the martial ancestors and true immortals. To the left sat the martial ancestors. Lin Fei noted that the Great Dream Ancestor had only managed the fourth seat on the left, a median position. With Lin Fei included, the Ancient Covenant boasted nearly 9 martial ancestors, and here he was in the premier position. The implication was unmistakable. Seeing Lin Fei silent, Azure Emperor Supreme smiled slightly and said teasingly, "How now, martial ancestor Lin, who roams unmatched in the yin-yang immortal domain and even withdrew at ease from the clutches of the Dark Demon Supreme, do you hesitate to take a seat?" Lin Fei was inwardly surprised. He hadn't expected that the Azure Emperor Supreme would be so thoroughly informed about his affairs, including his escape from Initial Demon Supreme, an incident not even disclosed to his master, the Great Dream Ancestor. How had the Azure Emperor Supreme come to know of this? Thank you, Supreme. Nevertheless, since the Supreme had spoken, Lin Fei took his place without further ado, sitting down in the foremost left-hand seat. The assembled gazes upon Lin Fei turned complex. That seat almost certainly marked him now as the foremost martial ancestor of the Ancient Covenant, perhaps even the strongest beneath the two Supreme ones. And how long had Lin Fei been a martial ancestor? Such rapid advancement was nothing short of astounding. Despite any underlying resentments, those present couldn't help but feel genuine respect, especially considering his composed retreat from the Dark Demon Supreme. His prowess was undeniable. Even among martial ancestors and true immortals, few could boast of escaping a Supreme. Upon seeing that everyone had arrived, White Cloud Supreme's demeanor turned stern, and he spoke in a grave tone, "Ladies and gentlemen, I believe you have already heard some rumors or have made some guesses. Blood rains from the sky, and a Supreme has fallen. This is not mere hearsay. Indeed, a Supreme has truly perished. In the Divine Realm, the original Tao Supreme was ambushed by the Lord of Dark Demons and utterly annihilated. This marks the first demise of a Supreme in our Divine Realm to date. This news is currently kept in the strictest confidence. Once spread, it will inevitably cause panic. I implore you all to keep this information buried deep within, not to be spoken of to anyone. I disclose this to you because I want you to make a choice. Some of our Supremes are preparing to leave the Divine Realm. They plan to venture into chaos and find another realm to establish a second Divine Realm. Therefore, we hope some of you will join them as the seeds of the Divine Realm to carry on its legacy. This is voluntary. Those willing to venture into the chaos may register. Those who wish to remain may continue to stay in the Divine Realm." As White Cloud Supreme's words fell, the minds of all present exploded in tumult, as if they could scarcely believe their ears. Were White Cloud Supreme and Azure Emperor Supreme truly contemplating leaving the Divine Realm? What did this signify? This was an abandonment of the Divine Realm. A so-called seeding plan, but clearly it was an outright relinquishment. The vast chaos beyond, abandoning the Divine Realm in search of another realm. If a world without a master were so readily found, would the Lord of Dark Demons have needed to invade the Divine Realm? A second Divine Realm, merely a pretext. Supreme Ones, you cannot leave. Yes, Supremes, you are abandoning the entire Divine Realm. Once the Supremes leave, what hope remains for our Divine Realm? Supreme, why must it come to this? Even though the original Tao Supreme has fallen, it was but an accident. Surely the Lord of Dark Demons cannot continue to slay Supremes, otherwise would he not have employed such means already? We in the Divine Realm can still resist the Dark Demons. The Supremes must not abandon us. Everyone knew that the Supremes were crucial. Once the Supremes left the Divine Realm, it would amount to forsaking it. How could those remaining withstand the invasion from the realm of Dark Demons? These martial ancestors and true immortals certainly did not wish to witness such a scenario. They would rather die in battle. Of course, this was also because they had no other choice. True immortals and martial ancestors, once they left the Divine Realm, could not survive in the chaos. Relying on the Supremes would mean living in dependence for a lifetime. And who knew what might happen in the chaos? What if they never reached another realm? Dying in the chaos would be the ultimate indignity. That was only a last resort. True immortals and martial ancestors did not wish to leave the Divine Realm. But the Supremes were different. The moment they achieved their status as Supreme, they had already transcended the Divine Realm. Supremes could leave at any time. And it would have no impact. Following the demise of the original Tao Supreme, the Supremes had indeed begun to diverge. Many Supremes were willing to resist for a while longer. Yet some no longer wished to take risks. Not wanting to gamble whether the Lord of Dark Demons still possessed the means to slay Supremes. Rather, they preferred to leave the Divine Realm, enter the chaos, and live freely. As for the life or death of the Divine Realm, those Supremes did not care. Once one becomes a Supreme, it's like escaping a cage. In the eyes of a Supreme, the Divine Realm was merely another cage, better to be out than in. For a moment, Lin Fei remained silent. He had not spoken, for he had long anticipated such a day. Self-reliance is more dependable than reliance on others. The fact that the Supremes could depart at any time meant they were never truly committed to a last stand. Unlike the true immortals and martial ancestors, who had no choice but to fight desperately. Now that the Supremes intended to abandon the Divine Realm, no one could stop them. With a swift movement, Lin Fei raised his head, looking directly at Azure Emperor Supreme and White Cloud Supreme. He spoke slowly, "Azure Emperor Supreme, White Cloud Supreme, you are the founders of our ancient covenant. Indeed, you stand at the very pinnacle of the divine realm without any concerns, free to leave whenever you choose. But we are not the same. We cannot leave. The divine realm is our foundation. No matter what, I will protect the divine realm. If you truly intend to depart, then please forgive me for not agreeing. If the Supremes do not wish to protect the divine realm, then we shall protect it ourselves. With those words, Lin Fei stood up, no longer affording the Supremes any deference, and walked straight out of the ancient Covenant Hall. Supreme Ones, I take my leave. Following his lead, the great Dream Ancestor also stood and departed. Many other true immortals and martial ancestors chose to leave as well. The once revered image of the Supremes seemed to crumble in an instant. With a great calamity impending and the Supremes fleeing, how could they continue to respect these Supremes? In a blink, the vast hall of the ancient Covenant headquarters was left empty. Not a single true immortal or martial ancestor remained. Only Azure Emperor Supreme and White Cloud Supreme were left in the immense hall. Azure Emperor Supreme, with a complicated expression, murmured softly, "Could it be that we are in the wrong?" Wrong. We are not wrong. They are merely at the level of true immortals and martial ancestors, unable to see the greater vistas or comprehend the terror of the dark demon domain. Even if we fought to the death, at most, it would only lead to more Supremes falling, the outcome would not change. Clouds rise and clouds fall, even the strongest realms inevitably meet their end. Perhaps the divine realm has reached its moment of demise. This is the trend of fate, unstoppable by anyone. To think that some true immortals and martial ancestors can protect the divine realm. That is naive, utterly foolish. White Cloud Supreme's gaze was cold as he watched the direction in which the true immortals and martial ancestors had disappeared, his voice tinged with a scornful laugh. He simply did not believe that desperation could be of any use. If desperation worked, what need was there for strength? What need was there for cultivation? In White Cloud Supreme's view, Lin Fei and the others were simply foolish. 619.